Oh my god, she's haunting the neighborhood. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Simming in Oz, and today we are doing the Tonks family. So we've already started out with Andromeda, so we've already created her when we created the Black family. And as you can see, she's a beautiful brunette, and today we're just jumping in and we're making a quick version of Ted Tonks and Nymphadora. So we started out with Ted. Basically, I do this thing when I create characters and I don't specifically know what they look like and I'm not basing them on a character. I'll just go through and I'll hit the randomize button about 1,000,000 times until I hit on someone that just feels right. And then we'll just go through and I'll do some alterations. I'll do hair, I'll do skin, I'll do beard, I'll do glasses. And then we just really go from there. It really just takes the pressure off trying to craft a random person from my mind, because I always incline to make them so beautiful and lovely looking when I just really want some, average people in my life. So yeah, I wanted to take the opportunity to make Ted Tonks not Caucasian, I suppose. I really want to inject, some diversity into my neighborhoods, because God, Harry Potter has so many white people. I'm sorry. So anytime I can inject just some variety, I'm going to do so. So Ted has, something about him. And I don't want to be so specific about what that is, but there's something. So he's lovely, and I love that he's got like a grayish hair thing going on, and he's very town folk and everything, and he's just lovely. And I really wanted him to have glasses and a bit of a belly and everything. Typical doctor. And then we move on to Nymphadora. Now she was fun. Same thing with her. I hit randomize, and then I just cottoned on to something. And I really love how her face turned out. And as I was going through, I was looking at all the multicolored hairs, and I was going to do this one, but then I sort of clicked onto another pink one, and I thought, oh, no, that's a bit better. It was this lovely pink spiky pixie cut kind of thing, and I thought, oh yeah, no, that works. Typically with her makeup, I didn't want to go all out. I know she has such personality to her, but also she is a working professional as an aura, so I did want to just sort of keep it professional as much as you can with Nymphadora Tonks. I gave her an eyebrow piercing just because I thought it was fun, and then basically I just go through. She's muscular but very thin and petite looking. She looks like a little pixie girl when she's got, all her clothes and everything, so it's all very lovely. And I just love how this character turns out. She's probably one of my favorites that I've created thus far. I love the purple pink hair. I love it so much. Now with her clothes, I wanted to give her something that was reminiscent of a uniform that she'd wear as an aura, and I couldn't quite find anything. I do cotton onto a few things. I wanted trench coat, but you know what, I sort of run with a few things and then I find the perfect thing towards the end. If I don't find anything specific right away, I just go and do something else. So I stayed with this one because I felt it was very layered and practical, and then I moved on to the rest of her clothes. So she's a bit of an odd one in terms of her fashions. Oh, I also wanted to give her a little upturned nose, just sort of reminiscent of a pig's nose. I thought that was fun. But in terms of her other clothes, it's all very light. Her day-to-day wear is very dark and practical, as would be expected, but the rest of her clothing is it's a little bit feminine, it's a little bit quirky, it's all very colors. It's not punk. She's her own person marching to the beat of her own drum, and I do like that about her. So yeah, she's definitely going to stand out in the country vibe of Henford on Bagley, but it's a little bit of flavour to the community. But she's a good soul, she's a little bit clumsy, she's self-assured, she's a bit of a bro, so yeah, she's really fun. I think this is about the time I find her actual perfect trench coat. It's base game too, I think. And I'm like, when did we add this? Not this, the next thing, this one. So when did we add this? It's gorgeous. I love it so much. It feels investigator. So I went with this one, and I thought it turned out lovely. Now we move on to their actual unit. So as you've probably seen in the past, we recently did the Black Family Townhouse, Grimmauld Place, and it's next door. But I didn't want them to have, the whole block of land to themselves. I wanted them to have neighbours. And I wanted to take the opportunity to start homing some of the characters that I'm making, because right now I have a lot of homeless Harry Potter characters and I didn't like it. So what we're doing is we're going through, and there's a bit of duality to this. So you've got the townhouse next door, which is entirely for the blacks. And then you've got this townhouse. It's only a double story with a basement level, and it manages to fit, it's smaller than the blacks townhouse, but it manages to fit 4 units in it. I just like the duality that the blacks, with all their wealth, have everything in the world, and then you've got next door these average Joe people who are just a bit of a shoebox kind of scenario. Now, the Tonks are living next door to the black family. I don't think it's too much of a stretch. I just like the dramatic irony of it, you know, like she downgraded, but she didn't go far. But, you know, she loves her Ted Tonks, and I do like that. It's very homey in here. Like, I feel like the person who owns the townhouse, the landlord, just sort of renovated it. Maybe it was 1 property to begin with, but he's just gone and made it 4 units. So the people that actually live here, on the very basement level, starting downwards, you have Quirrell, who lives in a shabby little apartment, and then you have Cedric Diggory and Amos Diggory in the basement level as well. And then upstairs on this ground floor, you've got Lockhart. I know that's a bit of a controversial one, I'll get into that. And then upstairs and in the rooftop level, you've got the Tonkses, so they live upstairs. Right now I'm just creating a little foyer. Now in this video I will be doing Lockhart's furnishing of his apartment as well. I've already created Lockhart, but I didn't want to do a whole video dedicated to just furnishing his apartment, so I'm just popping him on the end of this video. If you want to watch it you can, but no pressure. But I just wanted it to be very cohesive. Now, why did I move in Lockhart? Ted, the Tonkses make sense. The Cedric Diggorys make sense. Quirrell, sure. He's not actually a Death Eater, I don't think. He's just sort of, he went down a dark path. But with Lockhart, I really wanted to home this guy. Like, it didn't feel right that he doesn't have a place. Like, obviously he can afford one, but it just seems like he's such a character, and I really wanted to just give him a home, but I didn't know where I was going to put him. I didn't want him to have a whole house to himself. A unit felt appropriate and very English. And then I just sort of went through a big list, and I thought, okay, these are all the characters I've created thus far. Who needs a home? And then I tried to pick the least offensive, non-Death Eater, non-main character people that I possibly could. And it all sort of worked out. I really love how this whole second townhouse turned out. In the next video, I will be doing Cedric Diggory and his dad and furnishing Quirrell's apartment. But for now, we're just doing the Tonkses and Lockhart. It's not fancy. It's a little mid-range kind of thing, and I really want to do another townhouse down the way. Originally this whole townhouse was going to be the home of Wallace and Gromit, but it was too big, and it just, I looked up the Wallace and Gromit townhouse in reality of what it actually looks like in the show, and I thought, man, I gotta make that. So I'm going to be making that. So he didn't end up living here, but then I had to figure out who was and it worked out. So yeah, I will be doing another townhouse scenario. Wallace and Gromit's townhouse is a bit more very low end, which I'm looking forward to. So yeah, that's going to be quite fun. But for now, we are doing the Tonks' apartment. It's very warm. I wanted it to be cheerful. I wanted the duality of the blacks next door and having something that is very homey, something that's definitely an opposite to what they've got going on, and I wanted just to give Andromeda the life that she deserves with her husband and daughter. So they have a very lovely apartment. It's not big, it's very, very cramped, but they make it their own and they love it anyway. So yeah, I thought it was really lovely. I did put down some football trophies. I wanted either Ted or Dora to be like really into football in their, you know, primary school, high school years. So I did want that to be a thing. I feel like Hogwarts really neglects physical phys ed activities. So I did want to sort of incorporate that. Yes, no, these people do work out, they do. And Nymphadora would totally be into the, you know, the exercise because she's got to be an aura anyway. She'd be totally into it. So yeah, I thought that was quite fun. And then we're just going through and we're cluttering up appropriately. I love this lounge room. It's so fun. I think every time I place down that old-fashioned TV, it just does something to my brain where I'm like, ah, yes, this is good. This is perfect. You'll see I put down a lot of bird cages as well. I like the idea that while I don't have owls present, everyone does have a male owl. So the owl cage is meant to signify that. Now, the downstairs doesn't have a full bathroom. The full bathroom is upstairs. So Ted and Andromeda do have to go up the stairs to actually use the bathroom, but that's okay. We do what we can with the limited space that we are given. And then we've got a very cheerful kitchen. I love the tile that they use. It's just so fun. But this is just me fixing up the windows and making everything very cluttered, very charming cottage escape kind of thing. And it's such darlingness. I love it so much. I like to think to myself that if you think about who's actually living in this townhouse unit building, you've got Quirrell, Lockhart, the Tonkses, and the Diggories, and I feel like the Tonkses are like the sane ones of the bunch. Their building meetings and barbecues must be absolutely insane, because like you've got Quirrell, who's a shut-in and paranoid about vampires, and then you've got Amos Diggory, who's so proud of his son and smug and just very, you know, uppity kind of thing. And he does have that personality trait, and poor Cedric's just like so embarrassed about it. And then you've got Lockhart at the building barbecue as well. And Lockhart would just, if he'd show up at all, he'd make it all about himself. And I just, it just makes me smile, the idea that these people have, I don't know, PTA barbecues or something. And they just, it's a weird time for everybody. And then, you know, Andromeda and Ted are just standing there and Dora's running wild, and it's just like, oh my god, we're the only sane ones who live in this whole building, my gosh. I did give Dora some sneak out windows. I just felt like that was really appropriate. Her furnishing for her bedroom is still very teenager kind of esque. She's sort of, you know, she's coming out of her shell, but she's got a lot of growing to do, and I really wanted to encapsulate that. I didn't actually intend to give them the rooftop level as well, but looking at the floor plan, I was like, there's no way I'm going to fit Dora and a full bathroom in here anywhere. So I sort of had to compromise and add a third story to the top of the building, albeit a very small one. And then that actually gave the Tonkses access to have a rooftop garden and a little seating area. And I feel like with, you know, having a doctor in the family and everything, I feel like they could afford a little bit extra expense. So I really do like that. And I don't know how they'd feel about living next door to her old family home. Obviously, most of the Blacks are gone at this point, and their actual neighbours at this point are Sirius and Remus, and if I have my way, a few Order members. So I don't think they're too hard done by with their current neighbours at the moment. But really, that's it for this. I really loved making this, and I feel like I'm getting really excited. Like, it was one thing when I was looking at the neighborhood view of Glimmerbrook and you had all the builds done there, but that neighborhood is tiny. But as I'm going through, every time I finish a build, I go out and I look at neighborhood view, and it's just getting more filled up with every single iteration. So right now we've got the train station, we've got obviously these two townhouses now, and then we've got Azkaban, which is right in the hills, and then we've got Tom Riddle's small town. Oh god, I always struggle with the name. Never mind. Anyway, so So you've got that, so it's filling up, but there's so much to go, but I'm very excited to get it done. I will be doing a townhouse next, or the Ministry of Magic / the local pub, so that's going to be very interesting. Alrighty, and now we have Lockhart. I wanted to quickly furnish his apartment in this video just because I didn't want to dedicate a whole video to Lockhart. So he's already been made, he's been traipsing about town, very homeless up until this point, so I feel like the sweetie needed someplace to live. Now, contrary to all the other apartments, his apartment is garish to the extreme. Like, this man has very little taste, and it shows in his apartment. Like, it's got the basic bones, like the woodwork and stuff, but he's wallpapered over so much. He's got really nice tile, but used in the wrong way. And I think I really like his little apartment. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, mini kitchen kind of thing. And what I like about it is I can't imagine Lockhart's the kind of guy that cooks. So his kitchen is basically dust and very not used. I think I put like piles of letters in his kitchen and some cobwebs. It's just basically a holder for all of his fan mail. But in terms of his actual apartment, the epicenter is really his lounge room, because that's the place, it's got lots of beautiful reds and everything. It's very opulent. He's not broke. This is a man who has benefited very much off of lies and deceit and everything, and he's done it quite well. So he's a man who's, living the best of his life, but he doesn't have like a whole house or anything. I feel like he's still like an author, and he's not, rolling in it, but he's got some disposable income to spare, unfortunately. So his apartment is very opulent in comparison to all of his neighbors. I don't think any of his neighbors actually like him. Even Quirrell's like, oh God, what a weirdo. So yeah, it's all very reds and everything, and I love doing red rooms. It's all fun and everything. Another fun thing I wanted him to have in his apartment is he's got a lot of wealth displayed, but it's all a bit tacky. And, he is a writer, so I did want him to have some legitimate functional activity. So he does have a desk where he presumably writes first copies of all his books and lies and sends it off to an editor thereafter. And I also wanted his apartment to have just pictures of him everywhere. There is a certain amount of mirrors all over the place. And then you've got just pictures of him over the mantle, over his desk, mirrors in every room, and it's just a bit vain. And honestly, with his bedroom, he comes off as a bit of a playboy, a bit of a dandy, and just because, he has his clothes, and I was worried his clothes were too formal and out there, but as soon as he walked into his apartment, I was like, oh no, he fits right in here. So it all makes sense once he's home. Out in the wild, he does look a bit weird, but I think that lends itself to the beauty of this character. So yeah, I did go through and I did do some photographs of him, which I absolutely love. And then I just went around and I put letters absolutely everywhere, fan mail, cards of romance themed, and everything, and then bags of cash, just cash upon cash upon cash. But it's like, why do you need this much cash, and why is it not in Gringotts or something? It's a bit shady, and I love that. He's just a bit of a shady fella, but I like him so much. I'm glad he has a home now so he can skulk around. He's great, isn't he? But thank you so much for coming along. I really enjoyed making this, as I do everything. But oh my god, my first townhouse, and I'm so chuffed with it. But thank you so much for coming along. Like and subscribe if you care to, but otherwise I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you so much. Bye bye.